Welcome back, to West Tigers members and fans, to the Behind the Raw podcast. Today's a pretty special one. I'm joined by NRLW player Emily Bass, as well as some of the finest wrestlers PWA has to offer, Frankie B and the silly superstar Billy Preston. Thank you for joining us, guys.
No, thank you, Lachy.
Nice to be here.
Absolutely amazing. Emily, obviously your first year at the Tigers.
Yep.
How has this first year been for you?
Yeah, it's been incredible for me. Noddy, our coach, he gave me a bit of a lifeline to come down here and play NRLW. So originally the plan wasn't to play this year. I was going to play up in Queensland in the BMD comp. And then, he saw a little bit of potential in me, I guess, to come down here and fill a spot in the outside backs in the centre role. And, yeah, been really fortunate to play every game so far. Obviously not getting the results that we do want for the season, but, we're building and we're looking to keep the group together and, build for next year and the future.
Awesome. And for you guys, PWA's had a massive year in 2025. Are there any highlights for you so far that the people should know about?
I mean, for me personally, I think one of the big highlights was challenging for the Solar PWA Championship against Robbie Eagles, who since lost it to the Tuckman. But that was a big marquee match for myself, and unfortunately I didn't win. So I think for myself, I'm similar to the Tigers, where I'm in a bit of a stage of rebuilding, working on the salary cap a little bit, working on myself, trying to get to a better position. So, rolling into, 2026, we'll be in a good position. But I think PWA as a company is doing some really amazing things at the moment. We're managing to produce really amazing content, amazing shows that are drawing in thousands of people and producing really amazing stuff. So, yeah.
I think a highlight for me is probably working bigger shows. So I just did my second ladder match, which is quite an achievement.
I was there for that.
Yeah,
I was watching that.
Some pretty gnarly bumps.
Yep, scary stuff.
It was great. It's very fun. But I think more so me and Nikki are just doing really good things. We have a lot of momentum. So same thing, kind of like the Roosters a little bit. We're on a roll and we're only projecting upwards.
Here we go. It's going to be great when you guys get bounced in the first round of the finals. Emily, you obviously talked about Noddy throwing you a lifeline. So in that period where you didn't think you'd be playing NRLW, what were you doing to stay in shape and stay fit? Did you ever think that maybe you were going to get the call, or were you resigned to the fact that...
I thought it wasn't my time to be done. Mm-hmm. I definitely wanted to pursue NRLW and keep in the game. So for me, I didn't have a very good season last year. Wasn't in form, which is fine. But for me, it was just my mentality to obviously find my form again, but get to my fittest and strongest self. Pretty much finished the season last year, had a bit of a off season, and then wanted to get back into training and stuff. So I was doing the grind by myself, running laps at my local footy field. I have my own little gym equipment at home, so I was hitting the weights a little bit harder, and fortunately, got the opportunity here, which was really good. I found a new manager as well, so he really pushed my case. I'm really fortunate to play a game at the West Tigers, but to be able to play every single game this season has been incredible, and it's something that I didn't think that was going to be a possibility, but deep down I just really wanted to work hard and find that opportunity somewhere, whether that was the back end of the NRLW season this year or lucky enough for me at the start, so that was good.
And do you remember where you were when you got the call from Noddy? Because obviously that would have been a really big moment to go from not thinking you're going to be playing to now having to move yourself from Queensland down to Sydney and get settled. Do you remember the call?
Yeah, I do. It was probably 2 weeks before pre-season.
Oh, wow.
I was actually preparing for we had an invitational for State of Origin for the women. So I was lucky enough to get invited into that and play games to hopefully play for my state. Noddy gave me a call the day before that opportunity, and he said, you're off contract, do you want to come play? And I took it straight away. I said, that'd be an incredible opportunity. I was obviously working as well in Queensland at the time, so I had a full-time job. So the very next day I was putting in my 2 weeks notice to
Where
resign.
were you working at?
A company called Busy at Work. So it's a
So
strength.
So if anyone's looking for a job, they currently have an opening.
Yes. But yeah, they kind of were back and forth whether I wanted to work when I was down here or not. And I just said, nah, I don't want to work. Like, I've been thrown this lifeline. I really want to take the opportunity and just focus on footy. And that's what I've kind of done this year, and really dug deep and, being grateful for the opportunity. And I'm normally a winger, so to get the opportunity to play centre and get my hands on the ball a little bit more has been really cool.
It's obviously it's a big change to go from Queensland coming down to Sydney in just like a matter of weeks. Obviously, the travel schedule with the NRLW is pretty hectic, but I don't think people realise within the professional wrestling community, the travel schedule is not what people would expect. We were talking about it a little bit before. Billy, could you go into a little bit what it looks like, a typical weekend might look like for you guys?
Our weekends are busy. We're usually traveling. It can be anywhere in Sydney or it can be anywhere in Australia. Most of the time we're commuting to either small towns to put on festival-like shows. I mean, this weekend I'm heading up to Kangaroo Valley, while I think there's another show that PWA is running here in Lamia at a little brewery called the Beer Shed, where we have the ability and the talent to really be able to put on 2 marquee shows in multiple different locations. But the travel is what kills us. I think getting slammed in that ring. People think it's a trampoline. It's not a trampoline. It's wood and it's steel, and it all hurts.
Yeah.
But that's one thing that hurts you. The second thing that hurts you is after you've just been thrown around like a rag doll sometimes, you hop into a car and you squeeze yourself into a little thing, and you got to drive 3-4 hours back home. So it's all painful.
And Frank, your frequent flyer points would be up recently.
Qantas Business loves me.
Yeah. So what's the bit of international travel when it comes to wrestling? What can you tell the listeners about that?
So I've, like Billy, will do the same thing, jump in a car for 3 hours, wrestle for 15 minutes, and jump in a car back home to then get on a plane on a Monday morning, fly to Japan. I do a lot of training over in Japan as well. So you're never really home that often. So I think I'm home for a week and then I leave again and I'm gone for 2 weeks and then I come home and then I might go back to Japan. So it's a lot of time and effort to coordinate. It's not just around the corner. Like, I go to Melbourne, I go to Queensland, I come back every weekend. Some of us have no lives, and I'm one of them.
That sounds extremely fun.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're trying to find that balance with everything you do. How do you balance the wrestling with? Because obviously, some of them will be doing. We're talking about Robbie, who does it full time, but having to find time for work on the outside and family and friends. How do you manage that balance?
I think with wrestling, it's a silver lining, because a lot of the time, especially in Australia, it's only like Friday to Sunday, so you can account for that 3 days being taken up with wrestling. So then your Monday to Friday afternoon, you can have a normal job and you can do other sort of things. So when you are traveling that much and when you have a freelance job like being a professional wrestler, your schedule changes and you just get used to it. You get used to not working 9 to 5, and it's a blessing in disguise. I personally don't know how people have a 9 to 5 and then play footy and then also be a wrestler as well. I could never do it. I'm lucky that I'm my own boss, so I can kind of pick and choose. But yeah, it's honestly just a balancing act.
I think that's the same with the NRLW. Obviously, there's been the conversation of some are able to do it full time, some will still have jobs on the side. What's your experience been of that, Emily, and how do you see that going forward to make it more viable for people trying to do it full time?
Yeah. So I played 5 seasons now, so this is my 5th season. First season that I've just said, you know what, I'm just going to focus on footy. I'm 27 this year, so I really want to make amend of it and work hard. But the last 4 seasons, I have worked full time, and it's been so hard. And I look back at that time that I've done that, and like I just generally can't fathom how I managed to juggle it. I feel like with our job, I guess, playing NRLW, we can't obviously make that full time yet.
Yeah.
It is going in that direction, and hopefully soon. It would be better sooner than later to become full-time athletes. But, after the season finishes, I guess for us on Sunday, I do have to consider going back to Queensland and finding employment between now and next year, between the NRLW seasons, just so I can get by and live. But that's just the harsh reality of it. And I guess we look back at the men, you know, when they first started, and that was their norm as well. Like they had a 9 to 5 and then they would go and work as well during the day and then go to training. So I guess for now we just have to grin and bear it, and then hopefully in the coming seasons it does come full time. Hopefully I'm not retired by then. Hopefully I at least get one season that it's full time.
I'll talk to Richo. And obviously, would you have any advice? Because obviously there's no Band-Aid fix for that, but for any young women who are coming through really passionate about rugby league, who are looking for that to be a career, do you have any tips or advice on how to manage their time if that does become a possibility for them?
Yeah, I think obviously like your time management is a huge thing that you have to cater for, but not burning yourself out as well. So trying to find an employer that is quite flexible with your schedule. I was lucky enough with the company that I worked for up in Queensland. When I did have a job, they allowed me to have a part-time role during the season, so that I would do about a 20-hour week and then have that flexibility to be able to do footy as well. So I was really fortunate. So just trying to find someone that probably loves NRL and loves the women's game as well, that will help support you. Yeah.
And obviously there's that, you know, having that job on the side. Has there ever been instances of where you've been working a job and then someone's gone, what do you do on the weekends? And you've had to explain to them the spandex and the jumping off ladders. What's that conversation like?
I've got hired because of the wrestling.
Oh,
so
okay, good.
you put a CV in front of someone and most of the time it's boring, but you put a professional wrestler at the bottom and people are interested. They want to ask about that. And especially in industries where, you know, they like a bit of edge, or they like, you know, a little bit of, you know, it makes you memorable. So
that's a little LinkedIn hack for you.
Pretty much, yeah.
You're a professional wrestler.
I've got it on my LinkedIn. I've been told by employers, they're like, yeah, maybe that's not as professional, but I think it actually sets myself apart, because I think, you know, you speak to the same sort of people all the time in certain roles, and you know, and then it's funny enough, I had a client bump into me one time when I was at the Parramatta Lanes Festival, and I'm dressed in spandex and I'm throwing around someone, and then he came over, he's like, oh, hello. And I was like, hello. Like, and he's like, so you do this? I'm like, yeah. And it was a very good client meeting the next time I caught up with him, because he was like, oh, how's the wrestling, you know? So
has that ever happened to you as well, Frankie?
I don't tell people in my normal job.
Perfect.
I keep that very far away from the conversation.
That's incredible. Sorry guys, don't mean to interrupt, but it looks like we're getting a call at the moment. I think we've got you. WWE Superstar Grayson Waller has joined the podcast. How you doing, Grayson? Thanks for joining Behind the Rule.
Mate, I'm doing good. Thank you for sending that money through. Anything for you. That was a nice bit of dosh you sent me my way, so I'm happy to be here for that.
No worries. We're still staying under the salary cap with that one, but we appreciate it. Obviously, you're over in America at the moment wrestling with the WWE. You came from PWA, and there's still the connection recently where you got in the ring with James Graham.
Yeah, you know, a little bit disrespectful of James Graham to, you know, put a hit on me like he did on the second night. Like, I was just trying to help out the show, you know, give out the Grayson Waller rub. But it was good fun being out there. I think James knows what wrestling is now. I don't know if he knew before what he was getting himself into, but when he went out there, he had a pretty good performance, to be fair, but I think he might be scared of heights. It took him about 15 minutes to get up onto the top rope, but that's okay. First time those things happen.
Yeah, and obviously with a guy like that, your ear's still fully intact. There's no issues there.
Mate, surprisingly it is. You know, the ears hurt more from having to listen to his podcast most weeks.
Okay. Now, obviously, he was one of those former NRL players who was able to get in the ring. Is there anyone you see in the NRL, or even more specifically from the West Tigers, that you think could maybe jump over to the professional wrestling world?
Mate, I think the May brothers would be pretty good wrestlers, to be fair. They're pretty tough guys. I don't think they'd mind getting hit and hitting back. They'd be fun. What about, I'm a Roosters fan, so I'm a little bit biased, but I think Mark Nwanganita-Wase, he could have some pretty fancy moves. I think PWA is a lucha company. I think he's doing a few lucha moves on the weekend, so maybe he slots in there as well.
I think that's pretty good. I think Spencer Lenu might be also a good shout of someone who could get over there.
Yeah, as long as he's on my team, maybe we need to be a tag team or something, because I'd rather not stand in front of Spencer Lenu if that's possible. I'm kind of like the Queensland team, I avoid the big hits when they're happening.
Yeah. And speaking of, we've also got a Queensland representative here, Emily Bass. Was there anything...
Sorry, I didn't realise. I didn't know you were from Queensland. You have all your teeth, so I was confused.
That's all right. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. I've just met you, so yeah, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt that you're a nice guy.
Okay, appreciate that. She doesn't know me very well. That's okay.
Now, obviously, we were talking about people who could make that transition to professional wrestling. Are there any wrestlers who you think, if we got them out on the training field, could be lining up first grade in the NRL?
Ooh. So recently I've been showing some of the Bloodline boys, some of the run it straight footage that's been doing the rounds. And the Oosters are in. Solo Sikoa, he seemed to be, that could be a bit of fun. Jacob Fatu as well. I think we need to get the Samoan boys, because they're kind of made for that thing. They got hard heads, and I think they'd be good in the front line.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good shout. Now, obviously, we've got some PWA wrestlers in the room. Can you talk about your transition going from PWA over to the WWE? Because obviously it's a massive thing, and it's awesome to see Australian wrestlers getting that shine over in America.
Of course, I still love watching PWA, so it's good seeing Frankie and Billy there. They're still killing it all the time. I get up at 5 a.m. whenever the PWA shows are on and watch them put on a show. For me, I was pretty lucky. PWA has the best training in the world. Robbie Eagles, Madison Eagles, Mick Moretti, Jack Bonza, they're the best coaches. And when I got to the WWE, I was very nervous. But day one, I was like, I belong here. Because none of the training that I did in PWA compared to what we were doing here. This was easy stuff, to be honest. So I feel very lucky that PWA set me up for big things.
Yeah, and I'm sure you would have seen my illustrious 9-minute experience in the most recent Rumble as well. Did you have any feedback?
9 minutes? That's long for you, brother. Yeah. Congrats, man. That's great. You're getting better.
You. Yeah, no, I was pretty proud of it. I was knocked out for 8 of those minutes, but I was just saying, if you have any advice, if the next time that I do step in the ring.
Yeah, so I don't know if you've heard of the gym, Lachy, but you might have to jump in there a little bit more. The PWA boys, the body business taken over. Everyone's in great shape right now, so you might just have to put on some size. You're pretty athletic for a podcaster.
Yep, thank you.
You've got that going for you, but I think you need a little bit more size on you.
Yeah, thank you. Big shout out to Slex. Now, obviously, Emily here, being a Queensland representative, you're a huge New South Wales fan. I think, is there any way we can find some common ground here, or is there anything you'd like to say to each other?
Nah.
Nothing.
Wow, see, I was about to say some nice things. I have some connections to the NRLW. My cousin Kira Dibb plays up for the Cowboys, so I do have a slight soft spot for Queensland football because she plays up there. But we've also had some of the NRLW girls did a tryout in Perth last year, and they were pretty tough and kind of enjoyed what we were doing. So I think watching the NRLW every week, those girls would do very well if they ever wanted to get in the WWE ring.
Potential.
That was quite nice.
Yeah, it was nice.
Quite nice. Is there anything you'd like to say to Grayson?
Nah.
No, fair
just a
enough.
New South Wales person, so nah.
That's fair enough, obviously.
Yeah.
Grayson, thank you so much for coming on Behind the Rule. We appreciate your time. Good luck with the rest of the year with WWE. Can't wait to see you over in Perth for Crown Jewel as well. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me. And just for everyone, make sure you're watching the Roosters this weekend in the finals. Unfortunately, the Tigers didn't make it, but there's always next year. The team's looking good.
Thank you, Grayson. Appreciate it as always.
Legend. Thanks, guys. See you later.
Thanks, brother. Our proud partners, Pro Wrestling Australia, PWA, are the premier wrestling show in Australia, with their home base smack bang in the southwest of Sydney. High-flying action, PWA superstars, tables, chairs, and the whole kitchen sink. Don't miss out. For more information, head to their website, prowrestlingaustralia.com.au. State of Origin. First of all, congrats.
Thank you.
That Game 3 call-up, amazing. And again, it seems like it's been the year of getting these call-ups, which is pretty awesome. Yeah. How was that feeling being told? Because obviously there was the injury dropout and then being told that you were coming into play. What was that feeling? How quickly did you have to lock into this is happening?
Yeah, I haven't really spoken too much about it.
Please tell us everything.
Yeah, I will.
This is the forum to do it.
So, yeah, Game 3, obviously New South Wales have taken out the series by then, which was very unfortunate. But for me to get the call up on the day was really special. The moment that I kind of found out was due to an illness that we had in the team. So unfortunately, Rory Owen, our centre, she got an infection and she got taken to hospital, I guess, around 12 o'clock during the day. We kind of knew a little bit before that on our team walk that it potentially might be happening, that she may not play. And, you know, people coming around to me and be like, you're on red alert, like you might be in. And I was like, oh, like it is what it is kind of thing. And I called my parents. It was in Newcastle that we were playing this State of Origin game. And I called my parents and I told them, hey, look, there's potentially a possibility that I might play tonight. And they kind of just looked at me and like they heard me say it and they were like, this is just summing up your story, honestly. And they said, oh, we'll do everything we can to get there.
So where were they?
They're past Toowoomba. So they're about an hour past Toowoomba. So Mum arranged to go from Toowoomba to the Gold Coast, to fly out of the Gold Coast, I guess that afternoon to make the game.
That's crazy.
So she started driving and at this time I'm like, I don't know if I'm playing or not. And she said, you know, if we don't play, we'll just have a weekend on the Gold Coast. I was like, sweet.
It's a win-win.
Yeah, win-win.
Yeah, great.
Anyway, she drove down, her and Dad drove down to the Gold Coast, got to about 1 o'clock and I said, hey, look, I've been called in, like I'm playing tonight. And they're like, that's great because we've already booked our flights.
Oh, my God.
So she jumped on the plane, Mum and Dad, flew down to Newcastle. I ran out. I was trying to spot them in the crowd. And as we were singing the national anthem, they were walking down the stairs. So I got to sing the national anthem, saw them, spot them. And, yeah, it was a pretty special moment because, honestly, I didn't think I'd ever get the opportunity to play State of Origin again. So it was really cool. And to do it in that fashion, I guess, was really special. I had no time to think about it either. So there was no head noise about it or anything. And, you know, the girls gave me a lot of confidence as well. They said, you know, you've played here before, like you've been in the Origin arena. Like we wouldn't want anyone else there but you. So it was really special to have them have my back as well. But yeah, out of all the Origins I've played, that one was probably the most special.
So where, you said it's the most special Origin match, where does that kind of moment rank in your career?
Like obviously debuting or scoring a try in Origin is pretty special. But I would say that would probably be number one because I really didn't expect a recall back into the team, especially after my pretty bad form the year before. But yeah, just I feel like, you know, all athletes go through it. They go through a bit of a lull with their performance. So to be able to just knuckle down and, yeah, work hard and have Tati Norris see that, the coach, and them to have the faith in me to go out there and do my job was really special. And, yeah, we ended up getting the win, which was even better.
That's the key takeaway. It was the only game you played in that year was the only game at Queensland won. The stats don't lie. I was also like, that's such an amazing story, being able to see your parents as you're singing the anthem. Have you guys ever had a moment where you've been in the ring and obviously you want to be focusing on what you're doing because someone's trying to hit you in the face, but have you ever caught eyes with like, oh, that's an ex, or that's a family member, or that's a friend? Has there anyone that's popped up or even a celeb has popped up in the crowd and you're going, I didn't know they were here?
Yeah, I mean, it was funny. It was a few years back, but this is kind of like the one that pops into my mind. I think we were wrestling at Max Watts, which I think is now called Liberty Hall, and we were in a tag gauntlet match. It was me and my tag partner at the time, Jimmy Townsend, and we were running the gauntlet. We started the match. We were versing 5 or 6 different teams back to back to back to back. And
this was when you guys were the prefects.
This was when we were the prefects. So
could you explain to people what your
ring
gear was for that?
So when we first started,
yes.
We were the youngest people in the academy. So I think I was about 17 and Jimmy was 16. And so we naturally got paired together, and our characters at the time were preppy high school boys, which then evolved to the underdog school boys, where we'd get the absolute piss beat out of us. And then right at the end, we'd managed to get the win. So this was the part of the culmination of our big storyline, was where we were running through every single tag team in the division at the time. And I just remember there was a point where I was getting the absolute snot beat out of me. And I look up and I just see a horde of the people I went to high school with, just in the corner that I'm looking at. And I just went, and they were like, "Go get him!" Like the most bogan, like they were just caught up in it. And I just remembered, like, because when you go out there, the lights hit you, you can't really see everything all of the time. And sometimes you have someone that's special there that you might be looking for, whether it's your parents or your partner or someone. And I kind of looked around, I was like, I can't see them anywhere. I'm sure they're here somewhere. And then it was just very funny, just in the midst of all this chaos, I just look up and they're all just right there. And I thought that was really special.
It's good. It's exactly the same as your parents rocking up during national anthem.
Exactly.
It's right up there. Frankie?
I can't really remember, because you don't really see anyone while you're wrestling, especially like when you're walking out. You're full of adrenaline. But the only one that I can vividly remember, because I think it was Coliseum, and again we were in a tag gauntlet, and I think I had done a backflip off the top rope and I landed on my feet, but I stumbled back.
It's a crazy sentence, by the way. just say really casually.
Just every weekend.
Yeah, go on.
But I had stumbled back and I kind of grabbed one of the audience members' shirt so I didn't fall, and I turned around and I went, "Oh, it's Tane from Home and Away." And then I turned around and I turned to my tag partner. I was like, "Hot Tane's sitting in the crowd." And then we tried to get his attention, but he was locked in on whatever else was happening. And then I went backstage and I went, "I just touched Tane's chest." I was like, "This is great." I didn't care about getting the kicked out of me, but that was probably it. My parents didn't walk in on the national anthem, unfortunately.
Tane parents.
The parents don't 100% get it some of the times. They're usually just like, "Oh, you got a competition on this weekend?" Or, and there's stuff like...
I've seen you wrestle. It's all right. We don't need to
go.
Now, Emily, I've got some quick questions here for you. Just give me... Well, I just need you to answer with somebody within the Tigers team.
Okay.
All right. Who's the fastest?
I have to say Faith. Mm-hmm. She hit we say 8.6 meters per second. So every second she's running 8.6 meters. And she will not live it down.
Okay.
I live with her in the house, in the relocation house. And will not live it down. So I have to say Faith.
Okay. Who's the strongest?
Also lives in my house. Tara.
Okay. And who's strongest pound for pound?
Let's go Jade.
Okay. Teammate you don't want to be paired with during a wrestling session?
Oh, Sulla.
Okay. Any reason why?
Have you seen her? On the weekend, she scored a winger's try. She literally skipped out from the middle and scored on the edge, but no one wanted to tackle her because she's so scary.
So avoiding her for wrestling sessions.
Yeah.
Who's the mother on a night out?
Cassie Apps.
I should have guessed that. And who is the opposite of the mother on a night out? Who do you have to keep an eye on?
Probably Mon Clifford.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard. I've asked around the office. Who's most likely to stir up Noddy?
Props me.
Okay, perfect. Rookie to keep an eye on?
I've got to say Faith again. She's literally come across from Union and stepped into a 7 role. That's unreal.
Who's got a future as an influencer once they retire?
Mon Clifford.
Great. And who's got a future as a professional wrestler once they retire?
Me. Nah.
Yep.
Tara.
You're sponsored by PWA. At some point, we're going to have to get in the ring. Our proud partners, Pro Wrestling Australia, PWA, are the premier wrestling show in Australia, with their home base smack bang in the southwest of Sydney. High-flying action, PWA superstars, tables, chairs, and the whole kitchen sink. Don't miss out. For more information, head to their website, prowrestlingaustralia.com.au. I've also got a question that will pertain to all of you. Mm-hmm. This is what I've asked all the people that have come on this pod. What's the hardest you've been hit on the rugby field? And then I'm going to ask you guys, what's the most painful moment you've had in your wrestling career? Ooh, I'll give you a second to think about it. Because we've had some big hits. Some Dane Gagai was brought up as one of them for the Lachy boys. Do you have one that was like a bit of a welcome to the NRLW moment?
It wasn't welcome. It was more. It was my first like Queensland Origin session. I was so excited. I was like, yes, it's gonna be so good. And Tani Norris absolutely loves contact, and I'm like, all right, get your big girl pants on. Like, we're doing contact today. And Tiana Radford Smith has absolutely whacked me. Like, put me to the ground, and like I was laying on the ground, winded, couldn't breathe, and Tani just goes, "Come on, Bass, get up," and I'm like. I was like, am I made for this? I don't know. I was like, oh, gosh.
Where's she hit you? Like, get you right in the stomach?
Yeah, right in the stomach. And dropped me, like, fully on my bum.
Okay.
And it's training.
The training thing is crazy as well.
Yeah.
I was on the pads against Kezi Apps a year ago.
Yeah.
And she said, I'm going to go 30%. And I felt that for about a week.
Sala also says that we're like, okay, it's 50%. And we're all going 50%. And her 50 is like everyone's 150. Yeah.
Do you guys have a moment where you're like, that was the hardest I've ever been hit or the most painful sting you've ever received in wrestling? Because I've seen you off a ladder, through a table, not onto the mat of the ring, onto the ground, just of a function room.
I guess that would be the hardest. A couple ladder shots that I've taken.
Yeah. You've been saying some crazy sentences today, Frankie. Do you have a specific moment?
I've been knocked a few times. Like I've broken both my ankles wrestling, so I could say that's pretty much it. But you forget about it. But like the ladder, like the one landing straight on my bum from again the outside of the ring through a table, that was pretty much the worst. My back was killing me for about 2 weeks.
Okay. Billy?
I mean, they kind of all blend together because everything hurts. But I think recently I was wrestling for a company called Lucha Fantastica, and I had a guitar broken over my back, which it was just a regular guitar. There was nothing changed about it. It wasn't, plywood. It was just a guitar that they happened to find on the side of the street somewhere, dumped somewhere, and they were like, this will be good to break over someone's back. So yeah, that's probably the one that pops into mind.
Amazing. Obviously, I asked you before about where that moment with your parents ranked in your career. Has there been a career highlight that you always go back to and go, well, that's the best I've ever felt during this career?
Yeah, I mean, probably like 2022 Origin. I think it was the series where it was like 2 games. So it was pretty silly situation. If you win one, you had to win the next, or it was the points differential or something like that.
And everyone loves a draw.
Yeah, everyone loves a draw. And it was a draw. It ended up being a draw. But Queensland won because we had more points.
Oh, so technicality. Okay.
Yeah. Sure. So we won.
And you were playing in that game?
Yeah, I was playing in that game. We came down here for our first one. And it was actually my first Origin try I've ever scored. So that was probably the moment that was the cherry on the top of the cake, I think. And I always look back at that moment and cherish it so much because my parents came down again and watched it. But, yeah, like kind of getting roasted by the New South Wales crowd and being like, yep, that's good.
Is there any things you can remember them saying, or are they pretty much a bit too
I think it was
PG?
a little bit too, yeah. I remember another of my teammates scored and I think she gave it back to him, but that's probably something I should
No worries, we can always beep it out. I mean, for you guys, obviously, you get in the ring with so many different people, or even just being backstage with so many different people. Has there ever been like a pinch me moment of someone you've met or been lucky enough to wrestle against?
I'd say when Mickey James brought her, that was her company, and they were in Wagga, and I got to meet Bret Hart and sit and share a Tim Tam and a tea with him, and that was pretty pinch for me because you don't really get that. And you backstage, it was like the Great Khali with like Eric Bischoff, and then you had, MVP, like all of them there, and you're just sitting there, you're like, I've watched you on TV since I was like 5. It's very weird. And then them giving feedback on your matches, it's very, very odd.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, exactly what Frankie said. You know, there's so many bizarre situations. Like one time, there's a bit of a deep cut for non-wrestlers, but Jushin Thunder Liger, being backstage with him, and you know, seeing we actually had the privilege of seeing him without his mask.
Yeah,
it's a regular look.
If anyone doesn't know who he is, please Google him. He's the craziest mask you've ever seen.
He's basically like a villain from Power Rangers in like wrestling form.
But he's also about like
he's tiny.
He's my height.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's my height.
But yeah, just seeing him backstage was just like a very surreal moment. But it just shows like the wrestling bubble is like very small when you're in it. But then like, you know, you get out of it and you just think, wow, there's so many people you get the opportunity to cross path with.
It's amazing. I mean, obviously, Emily, you are sponsored by PWA, our lovely podcast sponsor. Thank you, PWA, Pro Wrestling Australia. What do we need to do? Maybe we have to wait till you're done playing NRLW for the Tigers to get you into a ring. But is there maybe a little bit of... Is there any way you guys can convince her maybe that she needs to go into a bit of a career in professional wrestling?
I think so. You can come to me.
We do have
join
an
the
off-season.
sisterhood.
We do have an off season, so maybe it's my off season career.
I'm sure the Tigers will love seeing you come up on that.
I need to work on my wrestling, so maybe it's an actual good opportunity.
I know it's pronounced bass, but your finishing move should be the bass drop.
Yeah, that'd be good.
That would be incredible. Guys, obviously we've got some PWA events coming up. October long weekend, the same weekend as the NRL Grand Final on the 4th. PWA Finals Fever at Mounties.
Yes.
You guys would like to tell us what are people going to be seeing when they come along to that show?
Well, I think that's the big blow off of the PWA Premiership that we've been going for months now. I think the three members of MK Plus Ultra face the devious third eye, the conspiracy theorists. So you know that's something that you get to look forward to. Who else is going to be there?
You've got Tucky, you've got the Tuckman, defending his title.
Yeah, the beer drinking, barely thinking Tuckman. So. He's the new Solar PWA champion, so he's our big champion. So you definitely got to come and see that.
And obviously we've got the Warriors on Sunday at midday. What are we hoping to see?
Yeah, it's going to be a good game. Obviously, Warriors come back into the comp for the first time this season since 2021. During that COVID time, they unfortunately got wiped out. But yeah, they're back. They're a really good side. I think they've got a lot of union converts that have come across as well, and they're kind of finding their form as they get to the back end of the season. But yeah, it's going to be a really good contest for us. Obviously looking for another win, especially our last game this year. So it would be good to, finish on a good win and, get the chocolates.
Go out on a high. And if you want to get make sure you get your tickets for that game as well. If you want to get tickets for PWA, it's prowrestlingaustralia.com.au. The last thing I'm going to ask before we go, because we talked about it before and I think people will want to know, obviously the season's coming to an end. What always happens at the end of the season is a bit of a mad Monday. We know what the boys get up to.
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't want to know. What does a mad Monday... Is it any different? Is it classier? Is it crazier? What's the plan for you guys?
We just be good and we go home and we have a little bit of an off season.
Okay.
And then
just a Sudoku puzzle.
Yeah.
I have got in my notes here, it just says Charlie and the Chocolate Factory Oompa Loompas.
Who said this?
Is that, the reaction says it all. Does that have any meaning towards you?
I may be dressing up as Willy Wonka and I may have Oompa Loompas.
Okay. How many Oompa Loompas do you have?
I think I have 6.
That's a pretty good shout.
Yeah.
That's a whole back line. All right. Emily, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. To our PWA superstars, Frankie and Billy, thank you for being here. Guys, please check out PWA, prowrestlingaustralia.com.au for tickets, and make sure you get your tickets to the game on Sunday against the Warriors. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.